Like, is she planning to wash dishes later? Hi there, my name is Tessa, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the outfits at the 2026 Vanity Fair Oscars party, which I believe has been going on for a little over 30 years now. I know that the event was technically almost 2 weeks ago, which is basically a century on the internet. But as most of you know, I recently touched down in Europe, and this is the first time that I've actually been able to sit down and record. So thank you for your patience. As always, this is just my opinion, and odds are we're going to disagree at times, but please don't take offense if we do. And try as I might, it'd be impossible for me to talk about every single person who attended, so my apologies if I missed your favorite celebrity. We're going to start off with Wunmi Mosaku and George Chakra. She's quickly become one of my favorite red carpet attendees because she and her team bring their A game every single time. I'm a sucker for this sort of lilac color because not only does it look amazing on her, but it's also so different from what everyone else wore. All of this texture could have really easily looked tacky or juvenile, but on her, it's elegant. Next is Mikey Madison in Dilara Findikoglu. I usually don't like super noticeable boning on a bodice, but it works for me here because of how hard they've leaned into the sort of getting undressed type of vibe, like how the skirt bunches at the hips and falls onto the ground asymmetrically. My only note is the hair. It feels a little bit too polished for how undone the dress is. Like, I would have loved a really messy Pamela Anderson type of bun, like she'd just gotten home from a really long night. Next is Rachel Sennott in Balenciaga. I think they were trying to go for elegance, but instead it comes across as dated, in large part because of this black lace beige underlay combo, which just feels like something that I would have seen at TJ Maxx in like 2011. Rachel's supposed to be this cool up-and-coming multi-hyphenate, and I'm just not seeing it here. Next is Mia Goth in Dior. I'm honestly obsessed with this sort of peekaboo bustle. It really reminds me of a duck's tail, but in the best way. The front of the dress is so chic and classic, but then the back adds just the right amount of weirdness. It unironically might be one of my favorite Mia Goth looks this entire award season. Next is Nicole Kidman in Chanel. The dress isn't anything to write home about, but I like it enough. I just think it couldn't live up to its full potential because of the styling. Like something a bit more 1970s boho rock and roller would have been a lot more interesting. Next is Rose Byrne in Dior. I've complained about two-piece sets on the red carpet in the past, mainly because I always find that they look a little too casual, and this is definitely proving my theory. I swear, if you just chopped off the bottom half of the skirt, it would look like something you could get at Zara. At the very least, I wish that they'd gone for a color other than black, because then maybe it would have stood out a little bit more. Next is Quenlin Blackwell in Chanel. This is just the right amount of whimsy. Like, it almost looks like a garden come to life. I just wish that they'd gone with an updo, which would have allowed her and the dress to shine a little bit more, but it isn't a deal breaker. Next is Kaia Geber in Givenchy. This is a very basic interpretation of the bombshell look that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it isn't a great thing either. I guess overall, I just don't really find it memorable. Next is Maude Apatow in Valentino. There are definitely some similarities to Kaia's look, but it's less bombshell and more old Hollywood. But again, it's just a bit too basic for me to feel wowed. Next is Kendall Jenner in Chanel. I'm really annoyed by this because technically speaking, it is a beautiful dress, but there's just no sense of harmony with the styling. It's like she was running errands all day and then at the very last minute threw this on and then walked the red carpet. Like, I've seen this from her 100 different times, and at this point, I'm desperate for her to try a different hair and makeup look. Next is Kylie Jenner in Alexander McQueen. This sort of dark romantic direction is very up my alley, so I'll admit to being biased towards this dress right off the bat, but I do feel like the styling isn't really living up to what could have been a really cool gothic glam kind of moment. Maybe she was trying to look a little more subdued since she was going as Timmy's +1, but I would have liked to see a little more. Next is Kim Kardashian in Gucci. I know a lot of shorter celebrities have worn these pleaser shoes on the red carpet in the past, like Sabrina Carpenter and Helen Mirren. And while I respect it as a simple fix for when a dress is way too long, I don't love when you can actually see them. But against all odds, I think they work here, mainly because the entire look has gone in this very over-the-top, sexy direction. Every member of the Kardashian-Jenner clan loves a body-hugging dress, and while I get that their figures are part of their fame, I wouldn't mind seeing them venture into new territory silhouette-wise. Next is Hailey Bieber in Armani Privé. I've said it before, but I will never understand how Hailey Bieber was crowned this generation's biggest style icon, because she just winds up wearing variations of the same generic thing every single time. At least here, she's playing around with a pattern, like it isn't her dozenth black strapless gown, but I find that animal print can be a really tough thing to pull off on the red carpet. Because it's so loud, it can be a little bit difficult to go in the classy direction. So I feel like at times, sometimes you really need to lean into the tackiness of it all. Next is Bella Hadid in Prada. This is very clean girl. Like, I feel like she should be walking around with a green juice and a Dyson Airwrap. I'm used to Bella being a little bit more adventurous when it comes to her style choices, so this feels a little bit out of character, and I almost want her and Hailey to just switch outfits. Next is Olandria in Pai Tim Rossi. I know that her team is trying to position her as this high fashion girly, but I'm afraid I'm not sold on it yet. They always have interesting concepts, but the execution is always a little bit lacking. For example, here, I feel like this sexy, billowy goddess thing has a lot of potential, but because they didn't line the skirt, it just looks kind of cheap, almost like what someone would actually wear on Love Island. Next is Julia Fox in Victor and Rolf. Julia's experimentation doesn't always work for me, but this works. It actually reminds me a bit of Margot Robbie's outfits in Wuthering Heights, where it's sort of this 1600s meets 1940s meets 2400s kind of mishmash. It's comically avant-garde, and I really enjoy it. I just wish that the skirt was slightly more voluminous, just to really emphasize the drama. Next is Keke Palmer in Gucci. The purple velvet has such a gorgeous sheen to it, and the cutouts add the right amount of sex appeal. There's almost a futuristic quality to it, honestly. Like, it reminds me a bit of outfits from Aeon Flux. Next is Emma Chamberlain in Valentino. Emma's brand is what I would describe as unapologetically micro-trendy. And while that usually does work for me, here, not so much. The top and the skirt are mismatched in a way that does look cool, but the proportions are all off. Like, the skirt looks like it was made for someone half a foot taller than her, and she's absolutely drowning in all of that fabric. And I'm sorry, but the gloves are just ridiculous. Like, is she planning to wash dishes later? Next is Kate Hudson in Gucci. I have a lot of mid-2010s fashion trauma from this specific cutout placement, so seeing it definitely made me wince. But aside from that, I think it's a perfectly adequate look. I just think she needed a necklace and earrings. Next is Jessie Buckley in Chanel. All things considered, this could have been worse, way worse. I don't really know how I would style this in a more interesting way, but even a red lip could have added some pizzazz. Next is Sarah Paulson in Fecal Matter. This ticks a lot of my boxes. There's a really fun juxtaposition of textures with the tulle skirt, the fuzzy cardigan, and the satin cummerbund. It's like grandma up top and toddler on the bottom. But because they're all in this creamy shade of white, it's still cohesive. Next is Rita Ora in Tomorrow Ralph. There are parts of this that I love and parts of it that I hate. The contrast of the blue flowers against the jet black really works for me, but I don't like the naked illusion up top. I think they're trying to pay homage to Halle Berry's outfit at the 2002 Oscars, but that one works because the entire bodice was sheer. This just has that weird boning that doesn't really add anything to the design except some messy lines. I honestly think that if the entire dress had been that black satin, it would have been so stunning. And yes, I'm aware that the hat is a lot, but I'd rather they have fun instead of just sticking her in a slick back bun. Next is Olivia Rodrigo in Saint Laurent. I tend to have the same problem with all of Olivia's red carpet looks, which is that the outfit itself is really cute, but then the styling is a total letdown. Like, there was so much potential here. So fun and girly and youthful. Why would you not lean into that? Like, some Mary Janes and a little 60s poof would have been so cute. Next is Suki Waterhouse in Tomorrow Ralph. I know that I usually advocate for fun, but I think there's one too many statement pieces going on here. Like, pick the cape or the chest plate, because as it stands, they're fighting for attention and no one is winning. I do like the skirt though. Next is Dua Lipa in Schiaparelli. Because she's so classically pretty, it's very easy to call it a day and just stick her in a pretty dress. So I really appreciate when her team does something unusual. I love the shape of the bodice, the gold fringe, and even the little peplum. Trust me, I'm just as shocked as you are. My only issue is the hair. I think an updo would have worked better with the neckline, and I wouldn't have complained about a red lip either. Next is Pink Panthers in Tomorrow Ralph. A few years back, Richard Quinn was doing a lot of these sort of suspended feather dresses, and it is a little jarring to see the trend circle back again so quickly. This is definitely a far cry from her sort of mid-2000s aesthetic, but I like it. There's a good balance of elegance and weirdness, and I love that they went for it with the hat. My only note is that an earring was desperately needed, like something really big and chunky. Next is Lakeith Stanfield in Dior. Male celebrities very rarely take fashion risks, so I'm gonna give him points for doing something out of the box. I'm just not sure how I feel about the execution. I love the makeup and the tailcoat, but the shoes feel a little too round and soft, and the ruff isn't integrated into the outfit as well as I would like. I also think that a pocket watch would have been a fun accessory to break up all of the gray. Next is Demi Moore in Balenciaga. Very old Hollywood glamour, and while I like the outfit in general, I'm not a huge fan of the gloves. They add a modern edginess that doesn't really mesh well with the rest of the ensemble. Next is Simone Ashley in Tomorrow Ralph. This has the same metallic peacock feather motif that Suki Waterhouse's dress had, but I think it works better here because it adds just the right amount of texture, but without being the only statement. I also think that the dress just fits her beautifully. Next is Myha'la in Valentino. Well, that is definitely a naked dress. I think they were trying to go for something cool and young and edgy, but it doesn't land at all. Like, the skirt is so long on her that I can't help but be reminded of when a toddler is playing in their mother's closet, and I don't think that the color does much for her either. Next is Sarah Pigeon in Calvin Klein. I think that this is her first major red carpet appearance since the virality of Love Story, and I'm afraid I'm disappointed. I do like that they went with Calvin Klein, which is a nice homage to Carolyn Bessette, but the dress itself doesn't really suit her. It's way too loose up top, and the color completely washes her out. I'm also not a fan of the flask purse thing. It just wasn't needed. Next is Hudson Williams in Balenciaga. This reminds me a lot of what Harry Styles wore to that Met Gala however many years ago, but not in a good way. The sheer top isn't nearly as revolutionary as everyone is pretending it is, and I don't love the cut of the sleeves either. The most interesting thing here is the train, but I'd like it to be twice as billowy. Also, can I just say that his girlfriend had one of my favorite looks of the entire night? Like, these mainstream celebrities really have no excuse. Next is Connor Story and Saint Laurent. I guess the heated rivalry boys decided to coordinate. I do prefer Connor's look to Hudson's, but I'm not in love with the styling. There's just a bit too much bling, and honestly, the necklace turtleneck combo will always remind me of that Dwayne Johnson meme. Next is Teyana Taylor and Chanel. She spent the entire award season in some pretty extravagant looks, so I think it's fitting that she ended with something simple. Almost like she's saying, well, that's all. I'll see you next time. It's very sexy, like just barely hanging on, but I still think it looks chic. Next is Chase Infinity and Louis Vuitton. This is very 90s to me, like something that you would see Drew Barrymore or Winona Ryder wear back in the day. She's had so much fun with color and silhouette these past few months that I feel like this just kind of pales in comparison. Next is Zoe Saldana and Saint Laurent. The Vanity Fair after party is not a black tie event, but even still, a mini feels just a little too casual. Like, this same exact dress but floor length would have been way more appropriate. And I also think that with all of the fabric up top, she needed an updo. Next is Jessica Alba and Tamara Ralph. I need her to drop her skincare routine ASAP because, my god, she is poreless. I like the dress itself, it isn't too crazy, but again, they aren't really doing anything interesting styling wise. Like, come on. She isn't a mannequin. Next is Felicity Jones in Valentino. There's a playfulness with the ruffles and the bows, but it doesn't feel childish. I just wish that she'd had a slightly bouncier hairstyle. Next is Odessa A'zion and Harris Reed. Consider my jaw dropped. I've been a fan of a lot of Odessa's red carpet looks, which have this sort of alternative steampunk influence, and this takes that aesthetic and dials it up to 100. I love the giant fringe shoulders, the dramatic basque corset, and all the different patterns. Yes, it's kind of like she was wrapped up in a bunch of different rugs, but I think if I saw someone wearing this in real life, I would have no choice but to run right up to them because I would just think that they were so stunning. Next is Elle Fanning in Givenchy. She usually goes in more of a springtime fairy direction, so this feels practically gothic in comparison. I think the bodice fits her beautifully, and even the asymmetric detail works. I just wish they'd gone a bit darker with the makeup. Like, a deep plum lipstick would have looked amazing with this. Next is Dakota Fanning and Zuhair Murad. This is the type of dress that any actress could wear and pull off, so I'm not mad at it, but it definitely isn't making my best dressed list either. Next is Anya Taylor-Joy in John Galliano. I think that she's an absolutely gorgeous girl, which is why it's so frustrating that she rarely turns a good look. The tap pants romper thing feels like it was supposed to go underneath something else. Like they'd misplaced her gown and then decided they didn't have enough time to find a replacement. Honestly, the only thing I like about this is the hat. So which celebrity had your favorite look at the Vanity Fair's Oscar party? That's it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!